Thank you for joining us today on 305 Talks Bowling, where we're going to share our passion for bowling, and our mission is to spread knowledge, experience, love, and just, our sport of bowling and help it grow. Today we're going to recap of our experience from our past tournament of Bowling in the Bay in Tampa. Um, we'll cover basically how we prepared for the tournament, how that helped us, and lane play, ball selection, struggles we came across, and unofficial standings, where we stand in unofficial standings. How did you prepare for the tournament over the weekend? Like, you knew you had a tournament coming up, you signed up, you knew it was coming. So do you, because me personally, like Lewis stated in a previous podcast, I'm a very field bowler. So me personally, I will sit there and rethink my shots, how it fell, stuff like even in previous leagues or whatever. I would make sure I focused on my release and things like that in the league so I can prepare for the tournament. So maybe you might bowl a tournament, prepare for this tournament. You may, I don't know, pot bowl or something to prepare for the tournament, just to keep yourself in that competition mind. So what do you do before a tournament to help you prepare? Clean balls, whatever you got to do to get there.
Yeah, well, since I bowl league towards the end of the week, that would be more of a little practice to stay tuned. I do maybe the night before I leave, I would do equipment prep, cleaning surfaces, what surfaces I want to go with just in case. I'm facing heavy oil or lighter conditions, more lefties, so I would prepare that way.
Okay. So this was on a house shot. However, if there was a tournament that was not normally on a house shot and you did not know the pattern, how would you build your arsenal based off of not knowing what's going to be out there or what the house plays like? What kind of things do you do in that sense?
Going into a tournament that is not on the house pattern and not knowing the pattern, is more so fixing your bag up, for just in case. If you run into something that's short, then you want to have maybe two balls that can, conquer the short pattern. If you're looking at something a little longer, more volume, then you want to have at least maybe three balls that has three different layouts, also different surfaces, cover stocks, something stronger for the longer patterns. So that's how I would build my arsenal when it comes to not knowing the pattern. I will put something of something, I guess, different of each category or whatever.
That's how I do it.
So yeah, that's how I would build my arsenal, not knowing the pattern.
And make sure you have your Avalon pads.
Yeah,
Worst case, make sure you get those pads.
If you don't have those, good luck. There's no building an arsenal.
Okay.
Build spares.
So speaking of arsenal, what kind of ball selections did you have over the past weekend, and why? Like, what gave you the best look? What didn't give you the best look? Things like that.
So pretty much going into the Bowling in the Bay tournament, shot is pretty consistent. Carry is tough in that house, being that they're using the new twister pins.
Mm-hmm.
So the carry is kind of
new fronts. Yeah.
So the carry is pretty tough in that house. Shot was pretty consistent. As far as equipment wise, what really had the best look to me was my GB4 Pearl and the new Hammer Envy. Once I got into a little transition, I ended up going into my Hammer Envy, which is a stronger cover stock, stronger layout, just to make that corner and get up a little sooner to get into the pocket so I can carry those corners. GB4 was more of a piece that I used to keep my angles tight, to carry the corners when I didn't get into any transition as far as like having other lefties on the pair. So when I was by myself, the GB4 was like golden. My 3D, I used my 3D offset a couple times, and that had that had a good look also. But for the most part, it was more so the GB4 and the Envy.
For me was my I did use my Prism Hybrid, which unfortunately no longer made, but I also used my Defender Hybrid, which was an excellent fit in my bag to get those corners out. Last Tuesday when we had our podcast, we did have a few people asking, like, when you leave those corner pins, like, what kind of adjustments did you make? Any ball I picked up, I would leave a 10 pin, like any ball. There was like, I tried different angles, and sometimes, like in this case, it was a ball change. My Defender Hybrid is a little bit stronger in the back, so I was able to come up a little bit higher on that head pin, which was able to get that 10 pin out. And so it saved me from a 206 game. It gave me a 230, 240 game, which definitely came in handy when I needed them. So that was basically my arsenal. I didn't really have a variety of balls to use because, again, no matter what I threw, I was making it to the pocket. I just was leaving a 10 pin. But that Defender Hybrid was that best thing for me to get those 10 pins out. Lane play. As many of you know, if you watch my lives, if you watch my TikTok, whatever the case may be, I'm definitely down lane player. That's my strong suit. That's where I'm very confident in. That's where I play. The downfall of that is that because of that angle, you can't leave a lot of corner pins. Like, I leave a lot of corner pins, which is why hybrids I think work the best for me, because it's able to get through the fronts really clean and get that sharp end in the back once it finds the friction. So my lane play, I just made sure I was a little bit firmer on the bottom of the ball, but going up 10 was the answer for me all weekend. Like, I really didn't have to move much. If I did, I may have moved my feet in like maybe 2-3 boards just to get a different angle to get that 10 pin out. But my lane play, I was pretty much down and in. What about you?
Yeah, like I said, when it came to the GB4, I wanted to stay as straight as I can. I mean, I know I'm not always straight. From you guys' view, it looks like I may be swinging the ball, but to me,
you swing the ball.
Yeah, you know,
I play down and you swing.
It's like one side I'm migrate left. I mean, it's not as much as a bigger swing, but it kind of straightens out. It doesn't, I guess, skid too far out as you would think.
Okay.
But yeah, in that house, you really have to play a little straighter. Once you throw the ball away from the pocket and back in, it's 10 pin.
Yeah.
So yeah, what I did was I tried to stay as straight as I can with the GB4 and stay behind it. Didn't try to let it get away from me or send it too far out, because even though it looks good in the pocket, it wasn't always a good result. You don't get messengers in that house or anything. Very seldom do you get a messenger off those twister pins. You know, like I said, the only time I actually went away from the pocket was with the Envy, but I had enough surface. I actually went down to 800 grit, so I can get the ball to read a little sooner because I was throwing it out that far, and that was actually the positive side for me to get it into the flying zone.
Okay. So based off a few clips on my page of TikTok, if you haven't noticed, the tournament that we bowled in Bowling the Bay over the past weekend consisted of 3 4-man teams, and then, well, you can sign up for 3 4-man teams and then also 3 doubles teams. So When we're talking about teams, when you're on a team, what kind of things do you put into play when it comes to either lineup, the pace that you like when you're bowling on a team? Because everything affects your mental game. Like if you're struggling, sometimes you want to rush to the line and you're like, okay, I need people to be there now. But then sometimes when you're in your zone, you like to just sit there and relax and you just throw the ball when you can. So what kind of things come into play with your members of the team when you're thinking about getting a team together?
I like to have a evenly paced team, someone that's going to be up to bowl when it's their turn. Because you may have a guy that's stringing them.
Yep.
This guy may be on the front seven, and he's the third bowler, but you got the top bowler. He's going
to the bar.
Yeah, he's going to the bar, and he's only shooting 190. Get out the way, let this guy, go for his underscore. You know what I mean? But I like a fast-paced, not fast-paced, but a evenly paced team, man. Someone that's going to be up there and bowl when it's their turn. I like a team that pays attention to lane play as far as transition. Yes, I am a lefty. The majority, all my teams are righties.
Simple episode together.
Yeah,
There goes Julian.
So, just a team that pays attention to everything, man. It's transition, what the other bowlers are throwing on the other team, what to look out for. So yes, those are things I look for when it comes to a team.
Me personally, I don't know if this is common, but I like to be the worst bowler on my team. I really do. Just because it motivates me to not be low man, which is the person who has the lowest scores together. And then also, like he said, like people pay attention because I bowl with him a lot, as you know, and it's just like sometimes like Cat, you get a little fast because he knows that's my kryptonite. When I get confident, I just start going faster and faster. So somebody who knows me, somebody who are people who motivate each other, who have knowledge of the game, and like he says, pays attention to like what your teammates are doing. Like if you see that they're on, they got 3-4 in a row, then make sure to try to keep the pace as even as possible, and it's also respectful, in my opinion, of people's time. Like everybody trying to get their games in, and don't want to have to sit there and just wait. So I think that's important. When it comes to lineup, I don't care where I go in the lineup personally, but I do like all the stronger bowlers to bowl together because to me, it just creates an environment of like, oh, I'm striking, you striking, next kind of thing. Or when you're trying to calculate things at the end of a game, you can sit there and try to calculate. And I don't like calculating, but when it comes to team play, there's calculations that come into place, and you're like, okay, well, if the weaker bowlers are at top and they've already done their things, you're trying to count on, okay, we strike out. Things like that is what I consider when it comes to like lineups. Is there anything you put into play when it comes to like lineups?
Yeah, I like to put, I guess, my medium. I don't want to say worst bowler, but I would just say medium.
The lowest average bowler?
Well,
yeah, let's see, the lowest average.
Let's just say the lowest average bowler, I would put in the second slot. I always like to have a good first bowler to set the tone, going into the 10th frame. If that person can get us up, if we had to battle in the 10th frame and that person can get us a nice lead as far as maybe a 40-50 spot.
A little pressure on the competition.
Yeah, because more than likely their second bowler is going to be low as well, so I would let them dig it out for the spares. And once it gets down to the setup and the anchor, then if need be, we have to battle it out, then, that's how I look at it.
Yeah, you get that bigger jump at the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I like to put people in suspense. Like, we're going to sit there and little by little just crush what you thought was a win.
And then, you got the top, you put that bowler at the top, then it's like, we need this.
But then you can see how close it is. You're like, okay, we're down by maybe a strike. You're like, all right, well, I'm confident in the next 4 bowlers or next 3 bowlers. The other one, you're like, well, I don't know. They may strike, they may spare, they may split. You never know. Everybody could do anything. Let's be honest. You can leave a 10-pin. There's no guaranteed strikes in bowling. But me personally, I would like to put all the worry out the way, and that's just me in life. If I'm stressing about something, I'd rather just get it out the way and call it a day. So that's just how I think, and then from there, start building that pressure. Get yourself in the mood, whether it's a pre-shot routine, if you have to go to the bathroom, like, do you rather just wait the game out and then go to the bathroom, wait the set out, go to the bathroom, or go to the bathroom the minute you feel it, kind of thing? Or eating, do you eat while bowling, do you not eat while bowling, do you eat after bowling, before bowling? Because that was a lot of things, especially when you're bowling squad after squad after squad, that you have to think about when trying to make sure you in your best head and space before you throw a ball.
I hate to eat during bowling. I just feel like if you are you're bowling good, you got a good string going on. Once you add, that pound or two more, that's it.
All your chicken tenders.
All your chicken tenders. That's it, buddy. You can forget about getting to the line evenly now. Like, you're gonna wobble to the line. But yeah, I don't like to eat. As far as the pre-shot routine, I make sure I try to get that same feel I had every shot. Powder up, or rosin up, whatever you want to say. Yeah.
Just get it and go.
Just get it and go. But yeah, that's pretty much what I do before every shot. Make sure I get that right feel. I always tell myself, try to stay down with the shot. And you stay down and you're going to strike.
Okay. How about using the bathroom?
I can't. If I had to pee very bad, then yeah. But for the most part, I just can't break away from a string and use the bathroom. Now, if I'm going 180,
time to go.
Yeah.
I'll be back.
I mean, what am I gaining? What am I losing? Like, I've already lost. So let's just lose this extra weight.
Everything is weight with you.
Yeah, get this liquid out. I can't use the bathroom. I can't eat during bowling. I just try to do everything after or before.
Okay. When it comes to me eating, if it's a tournament, I don't eat at all. That's not good. Don't follow that. But I don't know if it's my mental game of like I'm focused the whole time. I'm just thinking about my next shot, thinking about my next set. I'm learning this. Trying to charge my. I'm running around trying to make sure everything's charged for me to go live the next set, whatever the case may be. Calling my daughters from out of town, like things like that is what I do during the break. So I do not think about food. The only time I actually get hungry is like maybe the last 3 games of whatever. I don't care if I'm bowling 10 games or the 3 sets that I bowled the weekend. I did not eat in between those sets because I'm not hungry. That's not where my mind is at. But I know if I did eat even the slightest, like fry or chicken tender or whatever the case, I just feel all that weight and I feel sluggish. And sometimes even, I don't know if everybody has this problem, but like even with salt, like you eat maybe 2 fries and your hands are swollen. Now you're like trying to get your ball finger in the hole and it's just swollen, so you're kind of stuck. And a lot of things just affect your physical body that you don't realize at the moment when you're enjoying that like 10 taco. You're just like, oh crap, now I can't get my hand on the ball. So I drink a lot, like not alcohol. Like I drink drink water for the most part. I drink water for the most part, or out the circle thing that water bottle. Turn up the flavor, yeah. I drink a lot of that when I'm bowling. So I do stay hydrated, but I just don't have any kind of appetite when I'm bowling. Bathroom. I normally don't go while I'm bowling. If I have to go, I just wait till the game is over. The minute I finish my last, even if I'm the first bowler, second bowler, the minute I finish that last ball in the frame, then I'll go. Pre-shot routine, I spoke a little bit about it, which would tie us into our next subject. With my pre-shot routine, I normally will pull down my shirt or something because it's just a mindset of like I don't want my back showing. And then also I slide 3 times on the approach because of my embarrassing moment that I talked about last time where I fell in the lane because I still had my shoe cover on. It was just lesson learned. So ever since then, I make sure I slide, especially because sometimes people drop things like you pick up a cup because they do serve liquid at the bowling alley, and the sweat from the cup will drop on the ground, and you may step on it or something like that. So just me sliding just lets me know mindset wise my footing is going to be good. So speaking of embarrassing moments, what is one of your most embarrassing moments in the bowling alley?
Front 10 gutter ball. Back to back front 10 gutter ball.
So was it the pressure?
Nope.
No. There was no, you didn't feel no pressure when you threw the ball in the gutter?
No pressure at all.
So then, you're like, I don't need it. I have too many of these. Why did you throw the ball in the gutter?
No, it was just a miscommunication between my arm and the lane. At that particular night, something happened with the oil machine, and this was at Pines. So something happened with the oil machine, and it actually put out too much oil.
But you had the front 10 already. So what is that got to do with the 11th stripe? The oil that happened in the first frame, what's that got to do with the 11th?
What happened was there was so much oil, so I had to play a different shot. I was literally up, I guess, 1-0, whatever y'all want to say. Yeah, like I was off the corner. Like I never threw the...
So the whole time you didn't hit that board, and then would you hit the board and went in the gutter? I'm trying to understand. You did it 10 times. You struck 10 times.
Yes.
And then the 11th time you threw it in the gutter, and you're blaming it on the oil machine that happened before
I'm
practice.
just saying it was the reason I was playing this shot was because of that, because I never played off the gutter like that unless it's a tournament and I'm using like urethane.
Okay.
But that particular night it was heavy oil, so I was forced to play that.
And the little pressure
and
of
it wasn't pressure. Like I said, it was just a little miscommunication between my arm and the lane.
Okay.
So I think I got it on the lane for about 1.5 seconds, and then boom. It lasted longer.
Oh, no, he did
the
it.
Second front 10, it lasted longer. It actually got about 15 feet out. And
I don't know what you guys think. I think that sounds like pressure. If you can do it 10 times in a row, there's no reason for the 11th time to be in the gutter. But, to each their own.
It's just a miscommunication.
That is fine. So we were talking about earlier pre-shot routine. What is your thought on how long is too long at the line?
Scott Anderson's like No, as far as me or like other people?
I mean, just in general, like if with you, like when do you feel like, because I know sometimes with me, there's been times where I'm sitting there and I was like, oh, this is too long. I put the ball down. And start over. I realize I'm
now,
to the
point. Are you waiting on someone to go or?
Both. If I'm at the line and for some reason I feel like I'm standing there too long, which is very rare, but if I'm at the line I feel like I'm thinking too hard, I'll put the ball down just because I'm like, Kat, this is not, don't put no extra stuff on you. So I'll start over and then do my little 2 slides and I get comfortable and go. Waiting for somebody, I know mentally it affects me, so I will put my ball down and like take 3-4 steps back from where I was because I just feel like I'm rushing because I'm trying to get a turnover with. Like I feel like in my mind, there's a certain amount of time I should be up there. I get there. If you're taking too long, I'll just put the ball down and like walk away. And then
I like to be up there for just a certain amount of time. Once I pass that time frame, then I have to reset myself. I just waiting on people to decide whether they want to shoot a strike or they want to shoot a spare on this frame. Like it just. Yeah.
I've seen the video. I think it's probably on TikTok where this guy was standing for about like
the lefty, right?
I don't know. He was going for a split. It was a 7-10.
It was the lefty.
Standing there.
Yeah, it was the lefty, and he stood there. This had to be like a 2-minute video.
It was a long time
because he was just standing there, and he was like, I thought the video had paused. He was just like this the whole time, and I mean, I thought. Amazing was gonna happen, but he just threw it. Got one pin. You're up there for 2 minutes.
But I think sometimes it is too long. Because when I'm sitting there looking at you, and I'm just like, what exactly you think about? Like because when I believe, and this is something I practice, I think about all my stuff before I get on the line. That's what I do. I'll sit there and be like, okay, Kat, you're gonna stand here, you're gonna move, slide back a little bit because you left a 10 pin, or whatever the case may be. I would look at my score and like, okay, last time I was on this lane, I left this, or it was flush. It could have been perfect. So okay, just do what I did last time. So when I'm on the lane, I'm not thinking about anything. I just go based off, I feel good, I'm comfortable, it's time to go. And that's how it just works for me. But then when some people are up there, you shouldn't be thinking about much to be up there thinking. Like, you just put your finger in your hole, you get that right feel like you talk about, and then you go.
Sometimes I just wonder what is actually on a person's mind that sits there and just look for a minute and they're still, like, they're just there, and you got your ball and you're just looking at them like, anytime now. Like,
go ahead.
Go
ahead.
Start
moving.
There's nothing gonna change. Nothing.
I remember I used to bowl with this girl in college, and like she would stand there, and then she would lean forward, and then stay there. And every single time I bowled next to her, she moved forward, she tricked me. I used to get up on her approach, but like she's still not done. It just slid forward.
Especially the bowlers that step and then pause. Like they move real fast. And now you step in like, fuck. Oh, excuse me.
Yep.
You gotta step back like, oh my God.
Okay. So yeah, like pre-shot routine, most of it should be done off the lane. But then once you get on, you should be thinking about just go for a feeling and then go. It shouldn't be too long. So in moments of pressure, how do you handle pressure? And when was a moment where you had to deal with pressure in bowling?
I think the most pressure I ever had in the game, this was a very long time ago, very long time ago. I had already shot 300. I had already shot 300. This was my very first 800, which was 804. Mm-hmm. Ebonite released a bowling ball by the name of the Total Envy, and if you drilled that ball, you had 90 days to shoot 800, and if you shot 800, you received it was like a crystal ball from them that was split in half, and it came in like a satin case, and it had your scores and your name and Ebonite engraved on it.
Okay.
And this was actually the last 2 days to get it, and my last day of leave of the week, and I needed to strike out for 279 to actually get it. Mm-hmm. And I had already shot 300.
Okay.
And no, I'm sorry, I didn't shoot 300.
I was like, dang,
yeah, I didn't shoot 300. I'm sorry, I didn't shoot 300 that night. But I needed 279 to clean 800. Mm-hmm. And that had to be the most pressure I felt because I really wanted that award.
Okay. So you didn't get it?
No, I got it. I got it. And,
you have it now?
Not on me, but...
Oh, yeah, I know
yes,
not on you, but maybe you could bring it next time or something.
Yeah, I'll show you guys what it looks like.
For me, I spoke about my college days. Those were pressure moments when I bowled Baker. I feel like those, because every frame literally counted. There's no making it up. Like, every frame counts in Baker. Every frame counts in bowling in general, but normally when you open, you're like, all right, I can make it up in next game, or I'll make it, I can still strike out to get blah, blah score. But in Baker, that's all you got. There's no making it up next game. There's no other frames. You got your 2 chances to do as much as you can. So there's been plenty of chances in college where I was the anchor bowler, and we had to win to move on. We had to win to get the championship, things like that. And it was a very close game. And then some of them were on. The one was on TV, and I forgot to finish your question, but I'll get back to that. But those were moments where I felt pressure. I'm gonna speak about other stuff, another situation, pressure as an adult, but I wanted to go back to your situation. So, when you felt that moment of pressure, how did you handle it? So, how did you get yourself not too amped up or maybe that helps you? Like, what made you get through that moment?
Anytime, and I even use this now. Anytime you get to that point where you feel like it's going to be pressure or anything like that, I try to just get on the line and try to mimic, the last, shot I made. I try to take a deep breath and release any,
tension.
Any tension or anything like that. I try to bring the adrenaline down. Try to get everything back level before I actually take those steps and get to the foul line. So that's how I actually handled it. I took a couple deep breaths. I actually took longer on the line than usual. But yeah, that's how I handled the pressure.
But it's kind of funny because you have no clue about this. But when I came back from college and I came back after in Orlando and stuff, and I came back and I used to bowl y'all on Mondays before league. Mm-hmm. That's when I always felt the most pressure, because I was one, I was the only girl there. Two, all of them out there were just loud and boisterous and very intimidating. Try to be intimidating. I'm normally very quiet to myself kind of thing. So like them doing that, trying to get into my mind, and I know that's what they were trying to do. And I'm on the approach and I hear yelling and stuff like that. Knowing that if I don't strike, even if it's just because something's on the line, is why I felt the pressure. I feel like anytime there is something on the line, I don't care if it's $5, $1. Oh, men who are great bowlers out there, and knowing I have to strike to win the pot or whatever the case may be, I felt the most pressure then. Because I mean, I don't know. I just think because something was on the line. Like even for like shooting 300 and stuff, I don't feel pressure, because normally if I shot 299, I already won whatever I needed to win. 300 doesn't mean that much to me. But like if I shot, once I realized I shoot like 299, 298, just worst case scenario thought, I was like, well, I already won the high game pot. I already won whatever I needed to win. But when it comes to that pot game where everybody's neck and neck, and if you strike this shot, you beat one person. You strike the next shot, you beat two people. You have to strike all three shots to beat everybody. That's how it was. And it was just, that's why I do it now, to get into the mindset of a competition, because to me that was the most pressure. Do you like when everybody stops to watch in the 10th frame?
Nah, when it comes to me, and there's a lot of other bowlers out there that I bowl with that feels the same way. But when it comes to the 10th frame and you're shooting 300, don't stop the pace. Continue doing what you're doing. You don't have to stop. If I strike the first ball, go up and throw your 10th frame strike or whatever you're going to do. Just keep the pace. It's a regular frame. I've been there before. Other people have been there before. So, I mean, why stop the pace? Some people don't like to stop the pace, but I don't either. Some people do.
Yeah, some people feel like if they go up there and split or something, because a lot of people are superstitious, that affects.
To me, that's a mind thing. That's something I mean, and again,
everybody's different.
Everybody's different. Everybody have their own opinion, but I hate that. Like, I'm up to bowl and this guy goes 7-10, this guy go big 4, and somebody grab me on the shoulder. Hey, you don't want to throw next to that split? Why not?
Yeah, they did it all game.
Because you're gonna split too. They've been doing it all night. So, I mean, that's not gonna bother me. Then you have some people where you're bowling on 5 and 6, and the guy goes down 9 and 10 to get dead wood, or the mechanic is out bent over on the lane trying to get a jam, a pin jam or something like that, and from underground, and they're like, oh, I can't throw the ball because he's out there. Like, I mean, if you're looking at your mark, you shouldn't see him. You understand what I'm saying? And that's the same thing I feel about the splits. Like, if you're looking at your mark, you won't see those. But if you're somebody that, you just know that they are there, when you get ready to throw the ball, you're going to look at them like, oh, please don't do it to me. Boom, there it goes.
Yeah. Me, I don't see people. I think just growing up in the life of, like, sports, I I grew up as a softball player. Well, I grew up as a bowler, but I also played softball for quite a few years, and I was a pitcher. So it was like always a crowd. Everybody's always, you know, yelling or doing whatever they can to distract you, or they just you control the moment. And the same thing when you're on 300. People can do whatever they want. Whoever, you're the one throwing the ball, you control the moment. So people can have their cameras out. Honestly, I don't even look at anybody. Like, I'll sit there and bowl, I'll turn around, don't really notice. I see like a blur, come back, turn around and grab my ball. Because the moment you're trying to focus on other things, you're giving your mind a reason to look for other things. Like he says, if you're focused and you're in that zone, the only thing you see is your arrow. And normally if you're on 300, your arrow is like about this big normally than to this, because if you're that confident. Like if it's your first one, or you know you were unsure from the beginning of how you even got that far, then yes, it may seem like a little needle. But if you're shooting 300, I guarantee you did not hit that same mark 10 times or 11 times. You, especially if it's on house, you did not hit that mark, the same mark. So then
you hit the headpin.
You hit the headpin.
Not the mark.
Different ways too.
Yeah, not the mark.
Probably threw 2 Brooklyns in there. But in reality, like, other people watching, other people doing what they're doing, like, it doesn't bother me if they do what they don't. Like, if they stop and they be like, I think what bothers me, somebody wants to announce and make it a deal. I think that's what makes it. Be like, hey, don't bowl, she's on the front 10. You be like, you don't have to make it a deal. Like, you know, just keep, you know, and then they're like, oh, wow, I'm sorry. And then they want to apologize, touch you, do all this stuff to get you out that zone. Like, people can talk around me, I don't care, but if you do touch me, that kind of does take you out that zone, because people do that. Or people will sit there and come in the 9th frame and be like, oh, make sure you close, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I got you in brackets, blah, blah, blah. You know, stuff like that. I don't like that.
Because, they do it purposely
They
to
do.
Take you out. You know,
Yep. So stuff like that is uncalled for. And I think then I start focusing on their reason, because my mind is always mental. It's just like, why would they do that? Like, why? Like, oh, I know you got all of them. I know you got it. It's just like, okay, you can think it, just don't say it.
On the front 9. Hey, buddy, on the front 9. I shot 280.
And there's been things, I think you were on 800 or something, and people were just talking about it, like right there, just talking about, oh, what's the house record? I think he's going for the house record, things like that. It's like, you can think it, just keep it to yourself, or think it amongst your friends 8 lanes down. Like, don't bring it to the table and just start discussing different records I can break and things like that. And if he's not high on the pair, normally he would start, blowing darts, your usual. That's what he does. Somebody did say, I guess we're talking about the lineup, when you're talking about the mediocre bowler or whatever may go in the second
Mr.
spot.
Jones caught a few of those last night.
He says, are you the number 2 bowler on your teams?
That gotta be Steve. Nope, I am not. I was the anchor last night, and if you guys would like to know, we were down 100 pins in total after the first game, and we end up winning the second game by 1 pin.
So you're still down 99?
No, we actually won by 101, which puts us up by one in total.
Making sure.
And then the third game, we actually went up by 150. Might I add? Yeah.
And then somebody's like,
okay, say that again. With
so many AA bowlers, why not many on the mainstream showcasing? African American. Sorry, could have said black. I was like AA. I don't know. There was amateur something. So why not many mainstream showcasing? That is a good question. That's kind of why we started. That's why I started my my page of showing, I guess, African American female bowlers, and I just think that there's obviously a big ratio difference in African American bowlers versus other races, but I just think in general, this is just my thoughts in general, that the African Americans that I know, they kind of just stay in their area where they're comfortable. Like they don't really spear out into other things.
They don't travel. Some don't even know about the tournaments and things that they can, accomplish or achieve.
Yeah, and then someone did make a good point.
Plus, bowling has changed over the years. A lot.
Yeah, it's changed. So they get like they aren't supported by many bowling companies around the country. I can't. I mean, I don't know many African American bowlers who are on staff. I just don't. So that could be a valid point. I'm not part of any bowling company, so I can't say. Or I mean, even you're on staff, but you're not a bar or anything like that, or somebody who would give staffing out. So you wouldn't really know how that formula works. But I haven't seen that many. I've seen quite a few when I lived in Chicago. There was quite a few people who were African American on staff, but here in Florida, we just don't have that many African American bowlers, to be 100% honest. Like when we go to
down this way, and as far as Miami, and
compared to the whole state, is what I'm saying.
Well, okay, yeah.
Yeah, like when we like if you go to states, if you go to Florida's, state tournaments, you just don't see, unless it's your squad, you really don't see that many African American. And I learned that when I used to go to Junior Gold. I just go out there and there's a few, but there's not many African American bowlers to be on staff. Thank you. I'm trying. I'm hopefully gonna be on staff soon. One day. I'm hoping. That's my thing. Let's say they allow you to staff regionally, but they don't support bowlers on the tour north or not. Allow you in staff regionally, but they don't support bowlers. I mean, I believe.
What is that?
I'm not 100% sure. They're saying aren't supported by the bowling companies around the country. But when it comes to like, if you're talking about like PBA tournaments, because you said regionally, but the actual tour is a different animal. If you're talking about that, those, I mean, maybe it might be a financial thing, because those you sign up to be on a PBA if you want to get a PBA membership or not. That's your choice. It's not like you'll get denied for being any kind of race. That's your choice. You pay the money, you average with, you meet the requirements, you're able to do it. Mm-hmm. Then from there, if you want to participate in any tournament, you have to pay whatever you need to pay in order to be there. Being on tour and stuff is very, 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 very expensive, I believe.
It is.
It's a lot of out-of-pocket costs if you don't have those sponsors and stuff behind you.
When it comes to, like she said, it's very expensive. When it comes to from the tour and from my knowledge of it, you got to factor in room and board, rental car, flights, depending on where you're going. Also, you're bowling on something different every time you go out to an event. So more than likely, you're not going to be throwing the same ball every tournament. So you're constantly drilling stuff. Entry fees are different from your local tournaments that you may pay $79 or $89 to get in.
It's $300.
When it's going to be $300 or $500 or
just to get in, just to participate.
That's just a part, to get in and qualify. If you don't make the cashers round, then it's back you go.
Yeah.
Start over again.
Yeah.
So now you may be out $2,000-$3,000, but it could get very expensive. It's best if you don't have, the money yourself. It's best you have a very good financial support behind you that will understand the cost of being on tour. Me personally, I bowled a couple regionals before and cashed. Not saying anything bad, I don't think, but it's not for me. I make more money doing the amateur stuff. Yeah,
I agree. I make a lot more. I mean, I haven't done regionals and things like that, and the reason why, unfortunately, this is my belief. It may not be the most popular belief, but this is 100% what I believe, is that it's a catch-22 to bowl regionals and stuff, because a lot of tournaments nowadays, if I do go and I do an amazing job and I win, now I can't bowl any of the amateur stuff that I like to bowl. And I feel like I'm made to choose. Like if I want to go one avenue, I have to be 100% successful and stay there, or I can stay amateur and win, lose or draw, I'm still able to participate and still have the opportunity to participate in a PBA tournament. But the fact that if I do well just in a regional tournament and I win, I can't bowl like a TAT or TNBA, some TNBA events. It's just like those are the things I love to do. So I feel like it's a catch-22 when you try to, drift out and go into the PBA. And that might be a reason why there's not a lot of African Americans in the PBA, because of TNBA. There's a few rules in the tournaments that if you are a PBA member, then you cannot bowl a TNBA tournament. If you win certain things that carry a PBA tournament title, whatever the case may be, you can't bowl the TAT, which is a big money-making tournament. And again, entry fees of being $65, I can bowl every month or every week or weekend or every 3 days or whatever the case may be, versus one time $300 to $500 to participate, and you're going against people who do it for a living to try to make money. So it's a really big gamble. But if you're going the PBA route, I just feel like you have to be 100% dedicated. And like you said, if you don't have the finances yourself, you should have a huge financial assistant, sponsor, whatever the case may be, behind you to help you with that, because it's expensive. It's really expensive.
And especially equipment.
Yeah, they're agreeing that many of the regional bowlers say that's why they stopped. The expenses is a lot. Yes. Have you done nationals? I have done nationals. I've done it one time in Reno. It was definitely an experience. Like it was an eye-opening experience. I went with a group from Titusville, Florida. And if you were able to participate or were able to see, I'm gonna post it on YouTube eventually, and then also pieces on the 305 Talks bowling page, so make sure to follow that on TikTok. Lewis, the guy that I had a podcast with, he was the one who invited me out there, and we definitely had a great time. Are you going to one this year?
Yes, this will be my first nationals. I never bowled nationals before. Reason being, I was afraid to fly. Yeah, man.
I don't blame you. I didn't fly until college made me.
I just recently started flying about 6 years ago. My first flight was out to the Rodman a couple of years ago. I actually did great for the first time. I didn't make the cut, but I did okay. But yeah, I was afraid to fly. So now that I am more familiar with flying, I'm going to start doing more tournaments. And plus, I was always told, you got to go out, get out more, and that's how you would get recognized. And, as I started flying and going to other tournaments, I started getting more recognition from people. And boom, here we are.
So I think in April, is it? April? Is when we're going to national this year. Yeah. So I believe, I don't remember the date exactly because it's next year, but like April. There's a group of us under Gabriel Him. If you haven't heard of him, he's a great guy. He created his own bowling community basically down here, where he handles a lot of the tournaments and support and sponsors and things like that. Great man. He's bringing a group of over 100. Like, I don't like it. Yeah, it might be like closer to 2, if not more. People that's going to nationals this year, next year, 2023. So I'm doing that, and I plan on going to women's nationals, which I believe is in Reno or Vegas as well. So yeah, that's the plan for this year. Somebody said, thank you for being honest on flying. Yeah, flying's a different animal. When I did that, I was terrified. My first flight, I remember I do everything with my parents, especially my mom. So when it came to this first flight and my mom was not there and she couldn't give me advice or anything like that, I was just there with my teammates who I just met maybe about a month ago that were like going up in the air. Every little feeling, every little turn, everything, I was just like, what's happening? Like I was...
the red eye.
I couldn't sleep. I tried to sleep even when I flew to Reno with my mom to my first nationals. I took Benadryl trying to go to sleep, and my anxiety, everything was so high, because I don't like flying. I'll still do it, but I don't like it. My anxiety was so high. I was up the whole flight, and then when we landed and got into the rental car, I could not stay awake. My mom was like, Cat, look at the mountains. I couldn't open my eyes. I remember my eyes being so heavy because the Benadryl finally kicked in like 4 hours later because of my anxiety just stopped it off.
The worst I had, I took the red eye to Memphis for the Robin, and when it was there, and we ended up getting close to landing, and we caught some turbulence, like some very bad turbulence, and yeah, I was kind of scared, the plane with the shaking and everything, but then the lady sitting in the row next to me, she wanted coffee. And when she got ready to sip her coffee,
oh no,
the turbulence hit and all the coffee, yeah, man, which was bad on the flight attendant because
like it's too hot, like you're going.
Yeah, they shouldn't have gave her that during the turbulence.
It's unpredictable.
On the way back, I think I must have I could have messed myself on the way back because we already had a delay. They were saying something was wrong with the plane already. So now I'm nervous and I'm like, yo, how can we get another flight? Like, how, I would miss bowling tonight just to get a safer flight or whatever. So once this plane took off and we actually got in the air and we got high enough, like all you heard was like this loud noise, like a lawnmower. It was like, and yeah, that noise was ringing for the whole 2.5 hours. Like I just knew the right engine was dead.
that is scary.
Yeah,
somebody asked, have we heard of UBA? It's Underground Bowling Association, which is alternative from PBA.
Yep.
Yes, actually.
I used to bowl that here. We had UBA here in Fort Lauderdale. I bowled it. I want to say we did 2 seasons. We did 2 seasons of UBA. And
now we have EBA.
Now we have EBA. There was.
Don't talk.
Yeah.
But
yeah, we just got UBA now.
But yeah, speaking of UVA, we are going to have a special guest Friday at 7 p.m. Rudy Feliciano is going to be the special guest. He wants to talk about and spread the culture and knowledge of UVA. So yes, definitely look out for it Friday at 7 p.m. We would love to hear more about it. Like you said, he bowled the 2 seasons here. We've seen videos. We know Dougie and stuff that's from up there. I had a few people reach out to me, like from Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina area, just talking about it and say, I know there's a few big tournaments up there, Battle Bowl and things like that. Like I'm not 100% sure the rules and stuff, but I know we know a few people who kind of travel up there to bowl those tournaments. So I'm looking forward to having that conversation with Rudy Friday, just to pick his brain about it, ask him those questions. So if you want to share information or anything in the chat during that time, feel free. That's what it's there for. But I'm looking to learn a lot about his take on it from his standpoints on Friday. Being from Chicago, who has better bowling alley food? I don't really eat in the bowling alley that much. So I know when I lived in Orlando, Titusville, River Lanes, I believe, they had this thing called, it was my favorite meal ever from bowling alley. It's called a flying pig. And it's funny because the flying pig is grilled chicken, and then on top of that is pulled pork, like barbecue pulled pork, and it's a sandwich. But it's so good because it's called flying chicken.
How you throw the ball after that?
I mean, I didn't eat it while bowling. I just had it.
I'm saying anybody.
Oh, no, because I used to hang out in the bowling alley with Lewis and stuff. So then when I did, I used to get that. Anytime, because it was a special. They used to have, different specials they ran, and you vote on which food you like the most, and they would have it added to the menu. But that was one of the best bowling alley food that I had. And then Cloverleaf used to have sour cream fries.
Oh,
I used to love those things.
They had the sour cream fries. They had the garlic chicken.
They had
the best chicken tenders ever. Honestly, if y'all really want to know, bowling alley food was at its best in the 90s. The grilled ham and cheese was fire, man. But I don't know about now. Everything is burnt.
Everything is just quick made. It's just there's no love in it anymore.
Even the popcorn is burnt.
It ain't no love in it. They just throw it in the fryer and be like, here. It's either overcooked or undercooked.
Yeah.
there's a few places in Chicago that the food was pretty decent. I know Bluebird didn't have food. There was like, was just hot dogs and stuff. Like there was pizza. Like there was nothing there. I met Burr Oak had this quesadilla that I used to eat all the time from there. Chicken was pretty good. I mean, Burr Oak had pretty good food, and then also, even though Hillside used to like change their restaurant every like 2 years, when I don't even know what the name of I think it was Uncle Raymond's or something like that. When they had some good chicken there, and then I think it changed to Harold's. I don't know what it is now. I never had Harold's when I was there, but I think it was Uncle Raymond's or whatever that was there that I used to eat. Their chicken was pretty good. Let's see. Somebody was like, "What's a good exercise program for bowling?"
Bowling is exercise.
When it comes to exercise program, well, we're going to introduce. I'm taking some content Friday. I'm gonna just take some content, just take videos and things like that there. We may do, depending on what content everybody wants more explanation on, we'll go live at the bowling alley to show, because we actually have tools made specifically for bowling that is used to strengthen your arm swing, to align your arm swing, to strengthen your release, to strengthen your wrist, things like that. But but if you're trying to go to the gym and anything where you take a barbell and go like this, just strengthen wrist, strengthen your legs, core, legs, wrist, I feel like are the main things. Like your strength in your shoulders and stuff are not actually counterproductive, because you're taking the flexibility out of your shoulders to build the muscle unless you stretch really, really well. So being buff isn't the best way to do it, because you lose flexibility. But like lower body, torso, abs, things like that, and then also wrist strengthening is definitely things that will benefit your game when it comes to bowling.